Look, man.
Where? Oh, I see.
My, oh my.
Bowen, look over there.
Wow, is that
culture? Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. Las Culturistas.
Ding dong, Las Culturistas calling.
Tactile.
Tactile.
This is one where I'm going to need to be tactile with my sister throughout.
I'm gonna be clutching.
I'm going to be clutching.
Uh-huh.
I have to say, like, this really is a moment in podcast history. Not Las Culturistas history, in podcast
history. I think this is someone who, well, gosh, we're just talking about our guest already.
I mean,
This
yeah,
is-
because usually Bowen and I will sort of catch up. But here's a peek behind the curtain. We went to lunch, so we did all that.
We did all that.
Bowen's here in Los Angeles, really for this reason.
Really for this reason.
And so, you know, we
Some
might,
other things.
We might go to Universal Studios, so I might take Bowen to Super Nintendo World.
Which is very exciting. for
That'll
me.
be big.
That'll be very big. I'm happy to support Universal
NBC
Studios
Universal.
and NBCU.
We have an NBC Universal icon with us.
We do in so many ways. But this is a I think this is someone who is well regarded and respected and has gotten a lot of different things going in different parts of this industry.
Cross media conglomerate.
Cross media.
This is a Disney icon. This is an NBC Universal icon.
Uh-huh.
I'm imagining.
I want to say like BBC.
I think BBC would do well to.
I'm sure there's been a BBC thing.
Absolutely, they should court the guest because this is, if there hasn't been a BBC thing, there needs to be a BBC project.
Definitely, there's been. She's on BritBox somewhere. Do you do some BritBox?
I don't know that.
That's where they get all the British TV shows for Americans to watch.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
great.
Great.
So can I ask about the BBC?
Yeah.
So what is that? Like, it's sort of like not NPR. Like is it public?
It's British broadcast. I'm not the right person to ask.
I thought you would be an Anglophile, spending so much time there.
No, I am. I need a little break from the UK
Got
for
it.
a little bit.
I totally
and
understand that.
that's not knocking an entire country, especially like, aren't we a little bit saturated with UK stuff right now? This whole Kate Middleton thing is getting me
It's out of hand.
all kind of confused.
Well, first of all, did you believe that body double was her? Listen to that. You know what I think now.
Well, apparently the body double has spoken.
Oh?
I don't know what she said, but I saw something today that was like, the body double has spoken.
Did it sound like Kate?
I did not. I think they just meant like she has
speak.
broken her silence.
The body double said, "If I speak."
What if the body double sounded like, "Hey, it's me."
The body double has like Fran Drescher's
Sounds
voice.
like a gay guy.
Fran.
Oh, Fran Drescher.
Oh, it sounds like a gay guy.
Which Fran?
Hey.
Kind of, hey.
Fran Drescher does kind of have like a
Does
gay guy's
kinda
voice.
sound like a gay
It's actually
guy.
roller coaster number 8. Fran Drescher does kind of have a
sound like
gay guy's voice.
But
I who has a woman's soprano voice. Our guest.
A celebrated voice.
Can I say, I think underrated voice.
I think in some households underrated. I have only ever put it on a giant pedestal my entire life.
Talk about the guest's place in your life culturally from the ages.
Oh my God.
Of 7 and up.
This is this uncomfortable?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We're not concerned about her comfort yet. She doesn't exist yet in the podcast space.
So the thing about like DVD culture, VHS culture,
Holy shit, here we are.
home video culture in general.
I'm back.
Pre-streaming, you really would have your rotation,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say?
Sometimes even did you have the 5 CD changer?
Oh yeah, we had that. We had that for sure.
I had our guest self-titled in the changer for sure. Like it was like in the
self-titled.
spots.
Self-titled was really like so real. Was like okay.
It was so real.
Well, so real. You're like this is someone to watch. But then self-titled was like, here we go. What are the influences here within my pocket? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
That was on a Now.
That was on a Now.
Remember the Now compilations?
That's how you
know.
Now is still going
When you
strong.
get on Now, that's how you know.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
You're of Now.
You're of Now.
Yes,
the
that's
thing.
rule of culture.
Do they still make Now?
I think they still make Now. That's rule of culture number 77.
When you're
get
on Now, that's how
when
you know you
you're
are of Now.
And we've talked about coverage at length.
At length.
And I really liked, which you can no longer find on streaming anymore, which is totally fine.
Huh?
Amanda Lee. But
Oh.
then the last 2 albums have been sublime as well. And the last album was with the husband.
The husband!
The husband!
Sublime musical artist and formative, and to say nothing
of the acting
and the reason
career.
why we even like went off the way we did was because we were talking about J-Lo as sort of multi-hyphenate icon.
Yeah.
But our guest,
it's really been there all along.
J-Lo level.
J-Lo level.
And so
she shakes her head, but
she shakes her head, but it's incorrect. And I saw that out of my peripheral, and I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about the lack
of respect for us,
of respect yourself in our space.
You have to.
Here's what I'll say. I believe my favorite movie as a child was A Walk to Remember.
This is what I was saying in the days of home video. It was once a week I would watch it.
Yeah,
once a week.
Oh yeah, if you wanted to let it out. That was a sob fest.
There was a line read of our guest and Shane West in the car, and for some reason, two syllables, one word.
Go.
Seatbelt. telling Landon to put a seatbelt on.
And we're gonna get into that
Jamie?
line reading. I want to know, was that Shankman on set being like, hey,
Mandy, you got to tell Shane to put on his seatbelt.
Hello, Adam.
Hi, Adam.
I always see Adam Shankman at the Hollywood Equinox, and he's always dancing on the floor.
Yes.
And then you go up to him and you're like, what's going on, girl? And he's like, oh, I'm choreographing next week's episode of Drag Race. At any given time,
oh my God, he's choreographing.
In the center of the Equinox Hollywood, choreographing Drag Race.
Oh, he's so good at it.
Anyway, our guest has gone on to become an Emmy nominee for This Is Us. You can now stream Dr. Death. It's out now on our streamer of choice, Peacock. You've never been thriving harder, Peacock. Congratulations on Vanderpump Rules being back. I bet that's huge for you guys. Have you been watching?
I have not. I've really fallen off this season.
But I think it's probably just time.
It's time to bring
And
her
we've
in.
been buzzing all day. In fact, in the car, I was just smiling to myself, and I looked over, and Bowen was also smiling to himself, and we were listening to Only Hope. And you are in luck, everyone, because today we are welcoming to the podcast the one, the only, Mandy Moore! We did it.
Was that bearable? Was that okay?
Honestly, that was one of the most. I'm sweating so much.
I can't imagine.
In the same room while people are talking about you. Oh,
No.
good
It's
gracious. I'm so beyond flattered. You have no idea. I'm so thrilled to be here.
We're so excited you're here, and now I feel like you have to take the moment that you've been wanting to take for years.
Do we wait for later on in the podcast to work up to this question?
Do you feel like you can wait?
I feel like we can.
Wait, the Xanga thing, babe.
Yes, but I think let's just talk and catch up, and then I'll work it in. We'll let it
I can't
marinate.
believe that you're not edging.
Oh, I've waited like 20 years at this point.
Fine.
Like, what's another 20 minutes?
I'm curious
to
to find out, but all right.
Okay. Well, I think we got it out of our systems that episode where we really just bust the doors open in terms of our Mandy love, and we're just like, oh my God, and to say nothing of Saved and License to Wed and how to deal.
It's an endless list of accomplishments and stuff that you've done.
Honestly, I don't have words. It's beyond.
But don't you feel like it's I feel like maybe you just need to hear it more often from people.
Thanks.
Do you hear it?
No. No, but that's okay.
That's okay.
I'm almost 40. I've been doing this since I was 15. I'm that to me is success, just having this kind of longevity.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
I don't know. It's so strange. Literally, I told you, Bo, and I almost drove off the road because I listen to you guys every week. I'm like, all right, it's Wednesday. Unreal. I'm in the car. I'm running errands. And then then I heard it segue and I heard my name and I was like, wait, it was out of body. I was like, are they talking to me? I had this existential crisis where I was like, I think they're just talking to me. Can everyone hear this? It was so bizarre.
I was like, I wonder if someone's going to hear and let her know. If she actually does listen, because you never really know.
Sure.
If this will be a shock and she'll drive off the road. And
almost.
To hear that almost happened, I do
Literally.
apologize.
No, it's okay. It's
to
okay.
you and to everyone on the road.
Yes.
Who's also we have to think about too.
Oh no,
their safety.
People are driving.
That's the thing. I hope we don't say anything too crazy right now because some of y'all are driving, and I hope you're not watching this on YouTube while you drive.
Please don't watch this on YouTube if you're driving. But you were recording from the scene. You were in the car.
I pulled over.
You pulled over.
Yes,
Thank you for flagging.
Safety
that.
first.
Yes,
sure.
Do you identify as a good driver?
I think I'm a conscientious driver.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, in LA, you have to sort of be defensive and aggressive.
Driving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you learn defensive driving?
I learned defensive driving. The only thing I remember is 9 and 3 instead of 10 and 2, which I don't think means anything anymore. Like the
9
your
and 3.
hand placement on the steering wheel.
I feel like 10 and 2 feels way too high.
10 and 2 is way too high.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've gotten flack in the past for like someone in the passenger seat being like, you're holding it at the sides. And I'm like, isn't that what you're supposed to do?
I've never heard 9 and 3 in my life.
I haven't either, but I feel like that's where my hands tend to go.
Okay.
I did 12 and hip.
No, that doesn't feel
I did
safe.
12 and hip.
That's defensive?
And my hip. I let them have it.
What is defensive driving exactly?
It's when you drive
Defend.
scared, honestly. It's like when you're just like
High alert.
truly high alert, stops not just at stop signs, stop most of the time, very much below the speed limit.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we all know it's culture that we can pretty much at all times go like 5 to 10 over the speed limit.
Sure.
Great. I was just making sure I wasn't alone.
We all know, we're all in agreement.
Yes.
This is the thing about you guys in LA. It's like you guys get to drive to work, which is sort of nice. Like I kind of like that lifestyle.
I like the routine of it for sure.
Do you? But you probably are all over the place. When's the last time you shot in LA? Was This Is Us in LA?
This Is Us was in
Lucky.
LA. Oh, the best.
Yeah.
Sleeping in your bed every night, like
100.
that is the gift of all gifts. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't do it anymore.
Dr. Death was New York?
Was New York, which was great.
Right.
We like the whole family relocated. It was
that's
so
fun.
much fun. It was like a real adventure. But yeah, I mean, there's no place like home. Being home is the best.
I know. Do you like New York or are you like an LA girl?
I love New York.
Yeah.
Ugh. But I feel like I checked that off the bucket list for now.
Gotcha.
I feel like it's a young person's town. I'm too old. I have kids. Like it's such a different thing to be there now.
Okay.
Like with my family.
With kids, it must be really
kids, it's
different.
tough.
I mean, hats off to anybody who parents in New York. It is so much more difficult. Just the like schlepping a stroller down the subway. Like there's so much that you don't think about here in LA. It's like you have a car and everything sort of exists in the car and it's different.
It's your closet. It's your backpack.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Have you ever done Broadway or theater in New York?
I would die. That's
I was just gonna think
the
that. I was like,
ultimate.
that's like
one day.
Feels like such a natural
Why
one-to-one.
hasn't this happened yet, I wonder?
Not the right project.
Sure.
Have they come to you?
Yeah. Yeah. For things that like just weren't quite right. And I was like, no, I gotta save it.
Totally.
You know what you'd be amazing doing? If they
Baker's
ever
Wife?
do.
No.
Well, yes, Baker's Wife, you'd be great.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But if
thanks.
they ever did Waitress,
Oh!
you should do
yeah.
it. Do they ever pitch you Waitress?
They have.
They have?
Yeah.
And you didn't connect to it?
I mean, I do. I love it, but it just like the timing wasn't
Sure,
right.
totally.
There's, all those things have to sort of line up.
If we came to you with a jukebox musical of your own work, that'd be crazy if
She's like, God, no.
Shut it
Thumbs down immediately. No.
What if it was really good?
We have a really good story.
If it was like,
No
on a
one
meta,
wants that.
if it was on a
You're
meta
not-
level, like really cool, like it was Mandy Moore as Mandy Moore, like trapped in her own jukebox musical, and she's like, "Get me the fuck out of this."
Oh, that's fun.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
I just came up with that off the dome.
I like that.
Okay.
And the music is sort of like more of like set pieces and helps tell the story
Yes.
of
Yeah.
different points of life.
like a classic jukebox.
But like in terms of like, I don't mean to speak in sweeping generalizations about your life and career, but it's like you have had all these different chapters and seasons that like it would lend itself very interestingly in terms of the variety of it. It's like you get a pop song here, you get like a rock song here, you get like
He's saying Taylor Swift stole eras from you.
No.
That's what you just
That's
said.
not what I'm
Right.
saying.
That's what you just said.
But I mean, like, it's just, I think I might write this.
Okay, Bowen.
Honest to God.
I'm so down to see
that means
anything.
it's going straight to the Great White Way. They're dying to give him a book Tony. They're dying.
A book Tony to me.
To you, Bowen Yang.
Oh my God.
Here's the question though. Like, do you have a song from back in the day? Because I know my favorite, and it's because it takes me back to literally like my childhood bedroom,
Yeah.
which is I
Wanna
Want to Be With You.
Oh.
It was so like it allowed me like like a little gay kid to like act out those feelings that
I
like
love
you had
that.
to like not have or talk about with anyone.
Sure.
But like having a crush, like not to quote another one of your songs, which is literally that, but like that was like I'm surprised that maybe people don't like tell you this more, but like very, very formative and memorable
Yeah.
from like
Thanks.
being like a kid experiencing that song. Like it's very evocative and your voice has like always been so evocative. So it's not
Thank you.
surprising that you did the Disney princess thing because you have such a color. There's so much color in your voice, and you're such an actress. Like, you've always been in the way that you sing.
Jeez, Louise, thank you. That's so kind of you.
Well, I do mean it. And like, I wonder if you have a song that's like from back then that like, if you had to sing it now, like you wouldn't be too mad.
I love I Want to Be With You.
Yeah, that's a great song.
I feel very similarly to you that like it really echoed what was happening in my real life. I was 16 when I recorded that. Like
totally.
It very much mirrored exactly where I was at that juncture of my life. So I think back on it really fondly as well.
Yeah,
you know?
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about how coverage was, you were 19, 18 or 19 to like go into that like endless vault of like, I can really pick anything to cover.
Yeah.
But it was such a well-curated set of songs that like at 19 is like incredibly wise beyond your years, as they say. I'm I've just always been curious about, and coverage can lead us into the Xanga question because I feel like coverage was around when the Xanga popped up.
Got it.
So, okay, but don't answer yet. But first I want to know like what went into the like, do you remember what went into like selecting those songs?
Well, I knew that I was sort of at the end of my relationship with my record label. Like I had one record left to give them.
Yeah.
And because there hadn't been like tremendous success, it kind of allowed me the freedom to do something like this and just to come to them with this idea, like, I'm going to do this cover record and then that's my obligation fulfilled.
Yeah.
But I really loved this idea of taking music that I had discovered over those last like few years and introduce it to people my age in maybe a slightly different package, you know, than the original songs. And then maybe that would influence younger people to like go and discover Joe Jackson and John Hyatt and Joni and Carly Simon and stuff. I mean, it didn't necessarily work in that way, but it still exists in the world. And I'm like, I got to put out a record with like a Todd Rundgren cover. Like it was so much fun. And I like checked that box with the label and said my goodbyes and like moved on. So it was kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Classy.
Yeah.
And that will also forever be such a chic choice.
So
like,
that's what I'm saying.
To have done a, was it 2 albums at that point?
It was maybe 3, I think.
So then you do this album that's this like, your contemporaries of the time, which everyone sort of was saying at the time. It's like, it's Britney, it's Christina, it's Jessica, it's Mandy Moore. Like, you probably felt a certain type of pressure to like compete with them, or that they were putting that on.
They were always in such a stratosphere, like above me and beyond me, that I never felt that competition. I always knew that I was like my record label's answer to them, or version sort of, but because they were so wildly successful and I never really reached it in quite the same way, that it gave me more freedom. Like I didn't feel that intense pressure of like, now how do I follow up Candy? It's like Candy did what it did, but it wasn't, some of those, my contemporaries, like huge hits. And that allowed me to do stuff like coverage.
Yeah.
So can I now ask?
Yes.
Mandy Moore, was that your Xanga page?
No.
I was positive you were going to say yes.
I
was so positive you were going to say yes.
Okay, wait.
I'm really sorry.
Do you need a hug? Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Wait. Can you tell me more about this and tell me the year?
I'll tell you whatever you want. So coverage was 2003?
Yes.
That was like 2003. I remember like the profile photo was.
I'm so sorry.
It's like so.
The design was like, it looked like it was from like the label had set it up for you.
What is Xanga?
Xanga was.
It wasn't even.
Oh my god! It was. You don't even know the platform.
I literally tried to Google it and was
no
like,
problem.
I misspelled it. I was like, what is this?
Xanga.
Okay.
It was of the day of like live. It was actually a pre-live journal, I want to say. Like 2000 to 2003, 4 was like the heyday.
Yeah.
So you would just have and this was back when the blogs were called weblogs.
Yep, sure.
And you would just like post an entry like a day. It was like your little digital diary.
Every day?
It was not every day.
Okay.
Whoever kept this up.
Okay, but can I just say the only thing that gives me pause is that I did, like, I was very involved in like message boards and writing stuff. So I'm like, I wonder if this was something that I'm just, because we're talking 20 years ago.
Right.
If I'm just misremembering, like, I would write something, send it to someone on the to the label or something, and they would post it. Like,
Interesting.
I think it was back in the day where that was still like kind of rudimentary internet, right? And I definitely wouldn't have known like really how to use that.
Totally.
So because the phrase that you mentioned, which was,
to put it mildly,
did feel very on brand.
Really?
I was like, yes. So all of this gives me pause. I'm like, I don't remember Xanga, but I'm also like, maybe I wrote stuff and like,
maybe you
because I did keep track of like, hey, I'm on set. Hey, this is what I'm doing with my day.
Right.
There is something that feels vaguely familiar. I wish I had like a concrete answer.
Yeah.
So it's a maybe.
It's a maybe.
Wow. Or it's like a Schrodinger's cat. Like it's kind of it exists in this quantum state of like,
correct.
Yes and no.
I was going to say it exists in a quantum state
of yes and no.
If someone out there is like, no, I'm going to come forward and say, I was the author. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
But I have to say, if you are that person, you lock them up. Because the fact that they were clearly shadowing you so closely that they had young, impressionable children thinking that Mandy Moore was live journaling.
This is exactly out of a Satoshi Kon movie called Perfect Blue, which I told you to see. It's this pop star who transitions from pop to TV.
Oh, wow.
This was like in the 90s, late 90s. She transitions. It's a Japanese movie, animated movie. She transitions from being in a pop girl group to going on a television show. And then like one of her stalkers starts a blog writing in her voice, and she reads it and she kind of gets confused about like what her own experience is versus what someone else is like writing for her.
To put it
mildly. But at one point, whoever this person was did write in your voice saying, all of you guys saying that it's not me in the comments, all of you guys not believing that it's actually me, you guys are so silly.
That was not me.
Then it wasn't you. Then now we know for a fact.
No, then that wouldn't have been me.
I'm dying.
Isn't that?
That is surreal.
So I'm sorry, are we all scared to death now? Like, did I just like like really terrify us? Okay, great. This is 20 years ago.
It is 20 years ago.
They can't hurt us now.
But also like, how sad.
It's
that
wild.
someone would do that.
I mean, the thing is, though,
but I felt a deeper connection with you, even though it wasn't even you. Like, what does that mean? You know what I mean?
I think we're talking about a time, too, where you weren't just, like, famous. People were so famous. Like, I feel like, I remember, like, when there was, like, pop idol worship of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
That had to feel cuckoo bananas.
Yeah.
It did, but also, like, I feel like it would be crazier to be a young person finding success now. The access people have via social media, it's like that's the difference. Like that was the only platform in which like you could receive communication from someone, right? Besides like watching them on Entertainment Tonight or like on a premiere red carpet or something, or reading about them in a teen magazine once a month. Like there was so like little information out there about people that we lived and died by like the little morsels that we would get.
Yes.
And now that it's such a wild, different world. I wouldn't know how to navigate being a young person with like all of the just the content that's constantly out there. There's no privacy. There's no,
Yeah.
Right now, instead of a morsel, it's like everyone is expected to throw out the full pig, the full hog. You know what I mean?
All the time, constantly.
Time.
There's never enough to satiate people.
Ooh. Yeah. And it also feels like even in the work, like, because back in the day, it's like you could sing Candy or Britney could sing Baby One More Time or Christina could have Genie in a Bottle. And it would just be like a song, like a pop song. And nowadays it's like Olivia Rodrigo and like the young girls now. It's like it all feels like it has to be part of a larger narrative about them.
Yep.
And we're so aware of the narrative in a way that has to feel, I would imagine at the very least, like a little disorienting, if not like very, very almost like dysmorphic in terms of your own image.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's such a good observation. Yeah. It's different. It's like, things existed in such a like particular box. Like I think I was very much allowed to be a normal 15-year-old and go to the Beverly Center with my friends or go to Universal Studios or like hang out and be a teenager and then like put the work hat on and be, have the adult responsibilities that my friends didn't have. I had like the best of both worlds where I just don't know if that's possible in quite the same way now.
Not sure.
Possible.
Were they encouraging of you moving into acting? Or was that something that you were like, I really, really want to do this?
I really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think like record label was really aware. They didn't really care.
Okay.
But the other like folks in my sort of immediate orbit, and my parents and stuff, like they all knew that was something I had my eye on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then how does it like the choice? Because A Walk to Remember was the first movie, right?
Princess Diaries.
Princess Diaries.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stupid Cupid. Wow. You were iconic. You were the villain.
The villain.
You were the villain.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Any memories from young Anne Hathaway and you on set in an adversarial relationship?
Hardly. I remember her like walking into the trailer, always singing in the morning.
Oh.
Which I was like,
she was trying to flex on you, Andy Moore.
No, not at all. It was just like she was just sort of happy and like just like doing little vocal trills and stuff. Like
Oh,
it was
love
very
that.
it was very cute.
Lovely.
It was really cute.
Yeah.
And then you had Sandra yelling at you to get off the thing.
Iconic.
That is like the best.
That's like
The
the two
best.
people I love the most, just like interacting with each other.
That movie holds up.
It's-
And now, I guess now they're
holds
doing a
up.
third one. You should absolutely come in.
People have asked me, they're like, so you're gonna be a part of it? I'm like, in what world would that make any sense
I don't know. We
whatsoever?
can make a big choice where your character's like the president or something.
Right.
I just feel
Just
like
a
we
big
need
swing.
a huge swing. We should write that too.
We're gonna write that.
Listen, if there's not a script,
Come on.
give us a crack at it, please.
Come on.
I mean, we
I'd
need
watch
it.
that.
We have
For
to
sure.
do it.
We have to do it. You would watch that and we're
in
saying you
it.
would be in that one.
Correct.
And you would
Yes.
maybe be in the Jukebox musical.
Yes, all of
Okay.
it. Anything you guys put your hands on, I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
my
in.
goodness.
I'm in.
Good to know.
Wow.
Famous last words. But wait, so okay, you do Princess Diaries, and then you have your first lead role, which
In A Walk
is
to
A Walk
Remember.
to Remember.
Yeah.
So is it something where you, even at that age, are reading scripts, talking
Yeah.
about I like this or I like that, or
Oh,
do
yeah.
they? Okay.
And going on meetings and auditions and all of that for sure.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
But I had read, of course, this Nicholas Sparks book.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was like targeted for someone like me, my age.
Yes.
And I was like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
So I had an audition, and then I had a screen test with Shane and Adam, our dear friend Adam.
Yes, he's the best.
And that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
The book was period, right? It was like
It
took
was.
place in the 50s or 60s.
The
or something?
50s, yeah.
Oh, you know what? I
Yeah.
think that movie had such a like stronghold on my like attention at that time that
Sure.
I did read the book, and that was a big difference.
Yeah.
It was in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long that shoot was? Was it like 5 weeks? Or is that
It was, I want to say maybe like 2 months,
2
maybe
months?
a tiny bit longer.
Cute?
Yeah.
Cute.
In
There's-
Wilmington, North Carolina. It was so much
Yeah.
fun.
There's nothing like, I mean, just the ending. Like, I can't see it, but I can feel it. And then like Cry playing, it's so iconic. So when you
great
watch it,
song.
when you watch that in the movie theaters, are you like, you kind of know,
I
like,
got
I
it.
slayed that. I'm a movie star.
No, I just, it was such, and
I've
that
got it on
experience
cam.
left such an indelible mark on me.
Yeah.
It was like, did you guys ever have that like summer camp experience where you're like,
Oh,
I
man.
will do anything to relive that.
Yeah.
And you just like push that bruise just to feel it, just to remember what it felt like. Like that was the first
Yeah.
experience I'd ever had with like, I don't know if anything's ever going to feel like this again. Like
Totally.
the people, the material, like how much it meant to us. And then in turn for like young people specifically to find it and
Yeah.
for it to resonate so deeply with them and continue to resonate like
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
generation after generation now with somehow finding that film. That was, I'll never forget that feeling. It's
Yeah.
like you're like, I'll chase that for the rest of my life feeling
Yes.
that way. Yeah.
I mean, what is it about that movie? I mean, besides like the quality of it, but there is some like invisible force there that like drives someone like me to like watch the commentary multiple times. Do you know what I mean? I talked about this when we were
Yeah,
like
yeah.
gushing about you, like you and Shane and Adam Shankman just not really even caring what's going on screen.
Just
like,
having fun with each other.
talking, being like, oh, Daryl Hannah's wig is crazy in this shot.
It
Anyway,
It was. It
What
was.
the hell was that?
I know.
I
But you
remember
know what,
even at
though?
the time, I was like, this is
Doesn't feel
this is
normal.
bad.
Doesn't feel human. I think what it so clearly was the chemistry between you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
And obviously it's a compliment to you, but also like you seem to have really great chemistry with
a lot of your
of course a lot of your leading men, but like a lot of your co-stars, like you really do, you find a connection as a viewer, and like almost everything you do, like you seem very like committed and connected to your scene partners.
Thank you. That is very
Since the
kind.
beginning.
I
Yeah.
mean, let's say Shane was a tremendously easy person to pretend to be in love with. And as a 16-year-old, you know, those lines blur and you're like, this is...
I was going to ask.
Yes, I had such a crush on him. For sure.
Yeah.
You know.
And that never really ends. Like, even when you're an adult on a movie set, like, we know, but like, that's so
There's like
real.
an electricity. That's something that like bubbles up there for sure. And then hopefully it translates on screen. Yeah.
Yes. And it did.
Yeah.
It did.
But then like your body just doesn't really know the difference most of the time. Though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it is just like a somatic response of like, oh, like, I think like Lena Dunham was saying this one time, like she would like have a make-out scene with someone and then like go home and be like, I'm in love with that person. You know?
Do I really like
that?
that?
I really like that person.
Is that real?
I'm in love with them.
I'm in love with them. I mean, yeah, what a funny little business.
Funny world we're in.
Yeah.
The only kissing scene I've ever done on camera was with a straight guy. And I remember I felt like a little robbed of that. I was like, I want like the showmance, because no matter how hard I try,
you're going to have it one day.
One day.
Yeah.
One day.
I see that for you.
Well, anyways, I have to say, like, so when you do Walk to Remember, and like, because I remember the response at the time was like, okay, red alert, one of the pop girlies is actually good at this. Like, and okay, ding, 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 like, this is happening here, right here. So then comes like Saved, which is so iconic, and you keep going, there's Chasing Liberty, etc. And then like, fast forward to now, you're this like Emmy-nominated actress, like, is that what drives you in terms of career? Is like you're looking for acting stuff, or are you generally still open to everything? I know you did release an album a couple years ago, but like,
yeah, I mean, acting I think is the thing that's always pulled me. And music has always felt like my side piece.
Yeah,
like it's the thing that
my side piece
that I'm like most passionate about, probably. But because I never found the same sort of success, nor did I ever have aspirations of like wanting to do like arena tours or anything. I was like, I don't want to make that kind of music.
Gotcha.
It's always just sort of existed in its own little box, which is great. It's like I can lean on it when I want, and I'm looking to be creative, and there's not a lot percolating in the other areas of my life. But acting has been the thing that's like really creatively, I think, sustained me.
Yeah. Now I'm waiting for in 7 months you release like a huge arena rock album. And like it's like you in Reputation, like with a shaved head and like stomping out. Like she's back.
She's back. I feel like, I mean, is it fair to say that like you kind of got swept up in the music to begin with? Like within a year of like you being like discovered, was it like just growing up in Orlando? And then like it was like, hey, we got songs for you.
Yes.
And then like within a year, you're like touring with NSYNC.
Yeah, I went from, I remember watching NSYNC. Like I have very visceral memories of watching their like, remember that Merry Christmas,
Happy
like that. Watching, like getting ready to go to school, almost done with like, or like halfway through my freshman year, just about to leave to go start recording my first record, and cut to like 6 months later, opening up for them on their summer amphitheater tour.
Looking back now, like 20 plus years into the future, or from that moment, like what is like the takeaway? Like, is it like, whoa, what the hell kind of rapturing was that? Or like obviously you're grateful that like it all happened, but like on some level, like does that inform like the relationship with music now, where you're like, that was something that was like happenstance a little bit, and like now I get to actually decide how I want to like move forward. Yeah, I mean, I'm, like you said, incredibly grateful for this absurd opportunity of getting like plucked from obscurity and given this like platform. But sure, now 20 years removed from all of that, almost 25 years, to think like I can make my own choices creatively. Like I can make music when I want to, when I like I feel inspired to. I just like, again, like that to me is the metric and measure of success, you know?
This might be a good place for the question.
Yeah, I think so.
So you mentioned growing up. The one centerpiece question we ask here on Las Culture is, Mandy Moore, what was the culture that made you say culture was for you? So this meaning that thing that you can look back and you're pretty positive, like you started to form in a personality or personal way around that thing.
I think it was Disney movies.
Thank God. And how well did that work out?
The Little Mermaid specifically was like the thing I remember being about 6, and that coincided with seeing like my first play. My school did like the 6th graders put on a production each year at like the big touring theater where all the Broadway shows came through, and they did Oklahoma. And I again viscerally remember like being in the seat watching the girl who was Lori sing "Oh What a Beautiful Morning," and I was like, I looked around at the audience like in awe of how great she was. And I was like, I'm doing that. And then I like would go home and I'd sing along to The Little Mermaid. Like though that time was just like very formative. And Little Mermaid led to obviously like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. And I was like, I have to do this. Like the music, the acting, like there was something about the combination of both that I was like, this is what I have to do.
Wow.
Oh, amazing.
Was this Orlando at the time?
Orlando, yeah.
So like, and Disney itself kind of looming, like being in the air.
Yeah, in the backyard.
That factors in a little bit, maybe?
I mean, ish. Like I had no idea that the Mickey Mouse Club existed or like what that was until years later.
Wow, that's so funny.
So I just like randomly happened to truly just be a kid from Orlando. I had no like other connections to like the business or anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then so, I mean, years later, like, do they come to you with Tangled?
No, I auditioned.
You did?
Yeah, and I was terrified. I was like, ugh, what? Like, this is all I've ever wanted my whole life. Like,
Crazy
this
to get
is
the opportunity to do the thing.
dream of all dreams. And you know, like Disney wasn't doing musicals then. They had really like sort of gone away from that.
And princesses.
And then like The Princess and the Frog, I remember was like the first sort of foray back into like the classic Disney musical. And then Tangled, this Rapunzel story was the next one. And I was terrified. I just had this album that you mentioned earlier called Amanda Lee come out. And I was like, well, maybe that'll bode well. Like they can listen. Like I am a musician, I am a singer. Like they'll be able to reference that. Yeah. And I just remember like going in for the initial audition and it was terrifying. And then I was in New York and I had to go in with Alan Menken in New York and like sing some songs with him at the piano. Which was also terrifying.
Little Mermaid guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast, like all of that, like classic Disney. And so I somehow got the part.
But then when you get in the room and it's you and Alan, does it somehow melt away and all of a sudden become fun? Like,
yeah.
And you're like, whoa, like I get to do it.
We were at Capitol Records down the street, like
No
performing, doing I See the Light, like with an orchestra, with Alan Menken, like first time that Zach Levi, who plays the male lead in the film, like that we actually worked together.
Oh, and you sang it together?
We sang it together, yeah, in separate rooms. But I mean, for the rest of like a movie, I mean, you guys have all done animated stuff. It's like you're by yourself.
It's hard.
It's so hard. You're doing your lines with a director, sometimes just by yourself, like multiple times. But so to like have the chance to actually sing that song, a duet with him was great.
With the orchestra there. That's the
so
only
special.
Disney can do it like that. I feel like with the budget wise, like you do see videos of them like creating it. Like I believe for Frozen, they released videos of like Idina singing whatever song it was. And like there's people there, like Idina and Kristen in the room together.
Yeah.
Like that was, I mean,
it's magical.
It is.
Yeah, it's like that's what it should be if it's Disney.
So
and they're doing it right.
When you go to Disney now, do they roll out the red carpet?
They
should.
I feel like you get your sort of opportunity to have a tour guide every so often.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so I'm just like waiting for my kids to be old enough to really appreciate that and like, you know, understand.
They've seen Tangled.
My older guy is 3 and he just sort of like understands. He's like, Mama singing. Like he he sort of
Mama
understands
singing.
it. Yeah.
That's title of app.
Mama
singing. I love Mama singing.
I mean, yeah. It's sweet.
I'm gonna say something that could be construed a certain way, but I really think that like for all like the gargantuan success that Frozen will be, like it needed Tangled to like set that path. I think Tangled needed to succeed in order for.
I think so too. Like I think it opened the door for the Disney musical again to sort of come back into fashion.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, you really bent that whole movie towards Rapunzel and like her life and like what she wants, and it's just I love that movie so much. Yes. I still get chills when I listen to the reprise of When Will My Life Begin.
Both of them.
But like when she like literally touches grass for the first time.
Yeah, no, it's so
like,
good.
The way that shot kind of works and like it's just so good. There's a Kingdom Hearts 3 level that takes place in
Can we talk about that
Let's
too?
talk about Kingdom Hearts.
Talk about that? So I had no idea what I was doing.
For Aerith?
For Aerith.
Okay, so wait, say what this is because they might not know.
Okay, so I had also referenced that in my discussion Final Fantasy VII and Rebirth, and it's this big AAA video game that's come out that's like been anticipated for years, and it's I think you understand that she is one of the most iconic video game characters ever.
Beloved.
Okay.
For sure. Now I guess.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't at the time.
But like at the time, this is Kingdom Hearts. This is the crossover game between Disney and Square Enix, which was the Final Fantasy games sort of maker, and an all-star cast, truly. Like Haley Joel Osment playing Sora.
Yeah.
Hayden Panettiere, and then David Boreanaz was Squall from Final Fantasy, and then I think they had Cadet Kelly, what's her name from Even Stevens?
Oh, Christy Carlson Romano?
Christy Carlson Romano played Yuffie. Anyway, so then you play Aerith.
This is so funny.
So you play Aerith.
Yes.
What was that experience like?
Well, as a non-video game person,
no problem. No, please.
I didn't know what I was doing,
Right.
and I think because like it was the first edition of this game, I just like went in, did my job, and that was it.
Totally.
And they came back to me asking me to do it subsequently, I think for like the next version, but I couldn't because of scheduling. And I guess they just like continue to
Kept it going.
recast. Yeah, but like other people have played this character.
Can I say, and it's not just because you're in the room with me, like you are my preferred voice for Aerith.
Thank you.
Even to this day, the new girl is lovely. There's something.
The new girl is lovely. The exhale.
There's something about Mandy Moore doing Aerith that is like
It's
gets
different.
it right, and it's like Aerith is like the savior of the planet. She is like
Wow.
pure like sweetness and love and joy, and like whatever a 2-hour day of work for you imbued that character with exactly what it needed to be. Hans is thumbs upping. Don't you agree, Hans? There you go.
Many
so
fans.
I mean,
I'm
Aerith.
glad I could give you that joy since
No,
I didn't give you the
absolutely.
Xanga joy. I'm literally going to live with this like horrific guilt and shame that I had nothing to do with the
crazy.
Xanga thing.
It's
Oh,
crazy.
please don't feel an
I-
ounce of guilt. It's just, isn't that such a funny story?
It's wild.
It's wild.
I wish I had a better
even
answer.
the way that you were like, I'm gonna wait to answer this question. I was like, oh, that's gonna be such a moment when Bowen finds out that it was her, and for you to say no,
It's so
that
funny.
was so good. I love it.
Perfect.
Well,
Perfect.
funny you mentioned up the guides because I just went to Disney the other day because Joel Kim Booster, our friend, was working for a Hulu thing.
Oh.
And they're Disney, and so they offered him like a VIP guide, and so I'm the kind of person that goes to Disney, and I'm like sort of like, it's me and the guide. It's we're right here.
Yeah,
and
like
then everyone
asking
else.
questions, talking to
Oh,
him.
we're planning the trip.
Got
Like
it.
we're doing the whole thing. I've taken you.
Yes.
We
he
went
knows.
to Orlando and did the guide, and like I love it. I get so like in the weeds with like sometimes now I feel like I want to be on the app. Like there's these crazy apps. Like you'll know when you have you taken your kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know you have to be on the app, but no, you have the VIP guide. Yeah. She doesn't.
No,
Mandy
the-
Moore
I'm
doesn't
like,
use
wait,
the
what's
app.
No, I do. I bought the tickets on the app once.
Oh,
for
okay.
sure. Yeah.
What I'm saying is like,
Oh, looking to see like how long wait times
oh
are
my
on
God,
rides and
the
stuff, and
app
like
culture is so it's really captured like
Sure.
Disney. It's
Right,
like
right,
it's like
right.
you have to be down on the phone, and then you go, and the way that I like can activate in it is by being like right here with the guides.
Totally.
But the other day we went to California Adventure on St. Patrick's Day. It was a beautiful day, and I have to shout out, Jaslyn, you rocked. She was our guide, and she was amazing.
I mean, look, Jaslyn is. This is the second time this week that you've told me of Jaslyn.
Because I
And-
connect with these people. I
Yeah.
think about when I was a little kid, how much I would love, like, I can't think of anything more than like when I was a little kid, you might remember this. Like, you remember Universal Studios in Orlando, they have the Jaws ride?
Yeah.
All I wanted to be was a Jaws ride, like boat.
the boat captain.
The boat captain.
The boat
Yeah.
captain.
With the whole spiel.
Interact. I literally am off book on it to this day.
Wow.
We did a show at UCB years
Called
ago.
You Will Get Wet.
Called You Will Get Wet, where I played someone. It was a musical, and I played someone whose dream it was to do that. And then Bowen Yang played the shark.
I played Jaws. Yeah.
Wow.
He was
So-
amazing as the shark.
Damn, I really missed that one.
Yeah,
I
you should have come to
know.
UCB in 2015.
I would have.
You would have loved it.
I mean,
Okay, but Little Mermaid is like reign supreme for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Jodie Benson. Something about that tone of
That
voice
tone.
for her.
Gosh.
we saw her at a gay bar at 3 a.m. in New York City once.
What was she doing at 3 a.m.?
It was her
with her daughters.
daughter's birthday.
Wow.
It was 3 a.m. Had we just seen SZA that night?
I wasn't there. You guys had just seen SZA or something, and then you guys went to Flaming Saddles.
Something wild. Like we went to go see like the SZA concert. I think it was my birthday last year, and then like we went out afterwards. It was 3 a.m.
And you recognized Jodie Benson.
So one of us did. Maybe Aaron Jackson did. Like I think that's Jodie Benson. Sure enough, it was. Like every gay taking their turn to kind of go over to her and be like, I just want to say, you changed my life. You being here is an honor. Like everyone telling her that her presence at the gay bar at 3 a.m. was an honor. She's like, love it. In her Disney voice, like, thank you so much. I'm just here with my daughter though. Bye. Like gay guy. Like, can I just live? But, and then of course, like, I think it's Blazing Saddles, right?
Flaming Saddles.
Okay, so at that bar, they get up on the bar and they like do a little dance, and they were all Little Mermaid. And I was like, that has to be. But she was living her life.
Sure. Totally.
You have to imagine some musical theater majors have come up and belted in your face, though.
Yeah, for sure.
How does that go usually?
I mean,
I'm sure you're so nice about it.
You love it.
I love it.
Okay, great.
Come on.
You were them.
I encourage it for sure. I wish I were that bold.
I know.
Do you think going back, you would have gone to like musical theater school?
100%.
Yeah.
I went to Stage Door.
Oh my God.
Like the musical theater camp. Yeah.
Oh, wow. What was that like?
Really formative experience.
I bet.
Yeah. And it's crazy the people that you run into in the business who are like, I'm an entertainment lawyer now and I'm a casting director. And everyone is.
Door.
And I went to Stage Door. I was there like a year before you, or I was there during your summer. What? It's like everyone's peppered throughout the industry in different ways.
That went to Stage Door. Yeah.
Any fun people from your
Natalie
group?
Portman.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Were you friends?
No, we were in like the little cabaret troupe. I mean, she's a few years older than me, which you know, at that time, that age,
it
when I'm like
a huge
11 for sure. It's like, please.
Yeah.
But we were in like the little cabaret troupe together where we went and performed at like the free labor at the Catskill, like nightclubs and stuff. It was free labor. Yeah, we like went and performed like a 2-hour show, like medley for a bunch of people at these Catskill hotels.
Amazing.
Yeah. Hilarious.
I mean,
that's a pretty good one.
That's a really good one. I was like at a certain age, you were like just jealous that you weren't going to Stage Door, right?
I mean,
like,
I don't think I knew of anything until later, but I remember like hearing when I went to college, it was like, oh, I did Interlochen. Or I did
sure, that was the other one.
Or I did whatever the fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just all these things. And I remember feeling when I was in college, like, it didn't matter what I did, I was going to be behind everyone else.
Oh.
And I would imagine that we all have that to some extent, where it's just like, you always feel like, well, I can never be this because I haven't done that. Right. Or like, you know, I don't know when I got over that, but like, I don't know, like those little things of like, you know, we don't have like acting training or like, so you can't be a serious actor. Or like, did you ever have like imposter syndrome? Like
all the time, still.
Oh,
100%. Yes. I mean, I feel like if people say they don't, they're lying.
Yeah.
Everyone has that to a certain degree.
I wonder if you ever get to the point where you're like not nervous before you start a job, or like you don't leave a take and be like, oh God, I don't know.
Maybe if you're like Meryl or something, like
maybe.
I don't, but I kind of like it. It makes me feel like I care about something. Like the stakes are high. You know, if you just like reframe it in that way.
Yes.
That like you just want to show up and be your very best.
Totally.
Like it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of like thrive off of that. I know that like I'm pouring all I need to into something.
Yeah. And it comes out of like just accounting for failure.
Yes.
You're like, oh, this could go in a way that I don't want it to, and therefore I shouldn't do this, and it's dangerous, and it's like all these evolutionary like lizard brain things that we like think about because it is a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And not like physically, but like just
vulnerable.
Emotionally. Yeah.
When I was a kid, I didn't, sorry to interrupt.
Please.
When I was a kid, I didn't think about that. Like I can sort of visualize being 15 and walking on a stage in front of 20,000 people at like a Backstreet Boys concert. Clearly that audience is not there to see little old me. They're there to see the Backstreet Boys. But I had like no fear.
Wow.
If I were to do that now, I would shit myself. Like I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess it's what you were just saying. Like I didn't recognize the stakes at that point. I was just like, I didn't know what I didn't know. So there was just this giant like unknown of like, well, I'm going to go up there and I love this opportunity and I'm going to,
And I know my steps. I'm going to sing my
exactly,
notes.
exactly.
And I'm
the people
doing
behind
15
me are really
hard
doing
minutes.
the dance. Exactly.
Yeah.
15 hard minutes.
15 hard minutes.
Yeah.
And then the boys are coming out.
Yeah. They're going to fly across the audience.
Right.
Were you sort of more in line with the NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys fandom? And you can answer now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I was Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was Millennium. That record.
That album is huge.
Right? Like
God.
that was just a moment. And they had their show was like in the round. I remember that. It was pretty stellar.
It was good.
Yeah.
I think I saw like a concert. I never went to. I wish going back I had gone to more of those types of shows.
Me too.
My first I never saw the Spice Girls. I will always kick myself. Like if they ever reunite again, I will go.
Yeah,
sure.
Never. The one, I guess, big pop star I saw, my first concert ever was Mariah Carey.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's a pretty good
one.
first concert.
Yeah.
But like I never saw Britney.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Christina in Vegas years later.
Yeah.
But like didn't see Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, so I'll never know like that type of insane fandom. But then again, we did go to the Eras tour, and I don't know how it could get crazier.
I don't think it gets crazier than that.
No.
Yeah.
Historically crazy.
Yeah.
Are you a Swiftie?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I don't know her music like
No.
terribly well,
And
but I cannot imagine the joy that she brings so many people.
know.
It's
Like
so shocking.
that
I
to
love
me,
it.
I'm like, what an incredible gift to be able to spread that kind of joy to the world. Like, oof.
I know.
That is what
That
it
is a
is.
superpower.
It's like a very joy. But I think that's what kept me going back and back and back was
You just
I was
wanted to
like,
re-experience.
it's so fun, and everyone there is having the best
everyone.
night of their life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wow, to be in control of that, like,
Yeah.
A collective mood.
Yeah.
There is some
Powerful.
sort of charm that happens on the audience. It's almost like it is almost like a magic trick. Like, and there's times that she's doing things that you're like, Taylor, come on. Like when she points at the audience, she's like, let me see what this does. And she points at the audience and the crowd screams.
Yeah.
And you're like,
There's something witchy about that.
But it's really happening. And I'm like, it's just so funny. Like having that type of, that level, it's like, I can't imagine what it's like, but like, probably she did walk out there and think like another day, like you did at 15.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like,
at that point, yeah, you're like, this is my life.
yeah, this is my
normal.
life. I've adjusted to it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I feel like with your last album, like writing with your husband must have been like the diametrically different thing from like starting out in music, where it was just like, okay, just like give me what you got, I'll learn it, like and I'll not to discount like your process as in like making those songs.
I had no part of that process. It truly was an A&R person saying like, you're going to record this song on this day at this place.
This is back in the day.
Yeah, there
like
was no
Candy was not like
no. That was just like that was a song that they had found, and you were going to go and record it.
How hard was it for you to go give it to me the first time? Or were you kind of like, no, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it to me.
Because you gave it.
I don't remember. I just remember the spoken word part. I'm like,
who you are.
Is this weird? It feels weird even to me.
I think it's underrated.
I think it's aged like a fine wine.
I think it's really good. And I think it's up there with Christina's, did you want to be the one tonight? Do you know exactly what you like? That. Oh, you need a spoken word. If you're going to be a pop star of that era, you need the spoken word bridge.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
And you have it. You did it. You got it right out of the way.
Yeah.
Exactly. You checked the box. And I will say, before I forget, the video for Crush came on one time when we were on a family vacation with another family. And there's a quick moment where you're like, fully clothed, I might add, just like in bed with like the guy, like the love interest, just kind of like playfully, flirtily, like, PG, like
very PG.
Very PG. But the fact that you guys were lying down in a bed was enough to ring every alarm bell for one of the mothers, where she was like, no, we're turning this off. And so I do associate you with like a sort of like mischievousness. Like around that time. It's like, well, I'm not supposed to watch Mandy more. You know what I mean?
Thank you for imbuing me with something I definitely don't have. Like,
I feel like
I'm the most boring vanilla person, so I'll take it.
No, it was like, I think you've like really, you have a stake in every single area of my life from various times. And it's like, so it's amazing to talk to you.
That's very special though, because like, I will say like for for some reason, when I say this, it sounds pejorative. It's literally not. Like, for millennial people, like, you are truly a pop culture icon. And then, like, to see, like I'm on set with Ray Romano yesterday, and I told him, like, oh, I'm doing this episode tomorrow of my podcast with Mandy Moore, and he was talking about how much he enjoyed you in This Is Us. And, like, you know, my parents are so excited about this because they love This Is Us. And, like, you've really gotten to touch a lot of people with your talent. Like, and that is, like, that's really cool. And they're very special.
It's very special. Thank you, guys. I'm going to remember this day for a very long time. When I'm having a low moment, I'm going to be like, Bowen and Matt like this.
I do want to ask you about This Is Us. Like, so was that the most challenging thing you've ever done?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And that must feel nice for that to be like also like the most, I guess, on paper, like acclaimed thing is like.
Sure.
Like
or the most recent, at least. Yeah.
Well, like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like you get this like big opportunity and it's like, not only is it difficult in terms of what you're actually doing, but also a ton of people see it.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge, huge hit, like critically, commercially.
Yeah.
And it went for a really long time. And so then you have to keep it interesting for yourself and also maintain the way they heighten the way it gets difficult. Like the age range gets bigger and, you know, the way to keep it surprising for the audience gets more challenging because people are aware of, you know, I guess in so many words, the way it ends, like, and I would imagine that like that has to be looking back on that as like a whole body of work. Like, is that like the thing in your career that you're the most proud of?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I don't think I've ever been a part of something that's been as long running and has also touched as many people like that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
As a project like that. So,
yeah. And also Milo.
And Milo.
It never will get old to me looking at that man.
Yeah.
I am
not a bad scene partner.
No. Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, also great actor.
Yes.
Such a good actor.
Yes.
I mean, I remember from Heroes.
He was so good in Heroes.
He was great in Heroes. Did you ever watch Heroes?
I did not. I didn't watch Gilmore Girls either. I
wow.
was like,
so you had a blind spot.
I had a real blind spot.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know anything about you, but let's like jump into being husband and wife.
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably good though at a certain point.
Totally.
Like when you don't know too much about someone or like you can't be, like I'm working right now with Lisa Kudrow and Ray Romano and like Linda Cardellini. And I'm like, I don't understand how I'm going to like not
talk about the comeback.
Act like me towards Lisa Kudrow. You know what I mean? But you do it.
Sure.
Who's been the number one person for you that you're like, I can't even believe this?
That I've been around?
Yeah, that you've worked with.
Oh my gosh, that's hard. Diane Keaton, probably.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Probably
Diane. Yeah. That was like hard to ever sort of separate. Like you are Annie Hall, like you are First Wives Club. Like that was. And she is just everything you want her to be, though.
Yeah, seems very warm and also like idiosyncratic, funny.
Correct, but like so deeply maternal, I think, at her core, which is why she's so good at playing a mom.
Yeah.
And she would also just show up to set in like the most incredible outfits. Just like the hat, the gloves, like it's 6 a.m. when I'm in like sweats and like like wiping the sleep out of my eyes. She was just like in a full look.
Yeah.
She's of a time. She's of a time and a culture and like a mindset where like, no, like you show up and you.
Yeah. Consummate professional. Like, this is her world.
Yeah. Oh man. That is
the best.
That is an all-timer.
Yeah. Robin Williams, what was that like?
Oh. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Same. Like never got old being around him. He was constantly on, which I remember thinking like, I wonder if that's a burden to feel like you have to show up and perform and like be that person that everyone expects you to be.
Yeah.
Because he was just always cracking jokes, like always sort of, just on. But so lovely, really kind as well. Just like very, very warm, very much like family man. I loved working with him.
Very cool.
Man, I miss Robin.
Yeah.
So bad.
Like the culture would just be a little bit better.
I was thinking because I was thinking to myself on set the other day, like just how easy he made everything look, but yet his comedy was so obviously comedy, right? Like it was like he was playing things hard, but it always looked really easy, like in a way that Jim Carrey is like too. Like it's like a grounded, like a heightened groundedness.
Yes.
Like where you realize like they are just acting as themselves.
Sure.
And yet it's good for the camera and works for everyone in real time. Like that is such a That's a crazy thing to be able
Spinning
to
a lot of plates.
walk.
Yeah.
Spinning a lot of plates.
Yeah.
But they did it very well.
And Diane.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Something's Gotta Give is going to get rewatched
Immediately.
It holds up.
It really does.
Yeah, that's one of those movies for me. Like anytime it's on, I can't. I have to watch the whole thing.
Her face journey when she delivers the line to Jack Nicholson, like, this was a lovely night.
Oh.
And she just like,
look at you doing
she
it.
does like 5 different faces within like 2 seconds. I can't do it, but it's so like.
You kind of just did
Diane.
it.
I didn't.
Yes,
I didn't.
you did it.
No, I didn't. But I watched her performance in Something's Gotta Give before we shot Fire Island. I was like, how do I like portray like heartbreak in this way? And like she like does that so well. She does
Oh my
that
God,
so
you
well.
did watch that before
watched it.
Fire Island.
Yeah. And I was like, this is such a good movie.
What gets you in? Like, are you a music person
Music.
in terms? Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
for sure.
Do you have a secret artist?
No, it's like, it's weird. When I was doing This Is Us, because I had to cry a lot.
All the time. Yeah.
I would often just be like driving around like with my, like music on shuffle or whatever, and a song would come on and it would just elicit something, elicit some reaction. And I'm like, I got to remember this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then lo and behold, I would like go back and try to like mind that, like, what was that feeling that I felt there? And if you have some sort of association to a song or just listening to something like triggers something in you, I'm the kind of person that's like, I'll listen to it like 10 times in a row.
Yeah.
To sort of like get into that place.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's funny that you bring that up because I remember there was a crying scene in Fire Island, and I really struggle with accessing emotion like that. Like it's one of those things where it just doesn't come super easy to me. I feel like you're very good at it.
I don't know about that.
But I feel like sometimes I'll get so frustrated that the frustration makes me cry, and I guess I'll just use this. But I literally remember saying to myself, I was like, should I watch A Walk to Remember? Because I was like, it literally used to solely exist for me as an outlet to
Catharsis. Yeah.
Yes,
literally like
totally.
just to have the thing of like, I know it would feel amazing to release the feelings I have right now, even if I didn't have words for them or words for why I felt like I wanted to cry. But it was like, there's something to that too. Like art existing as like just a release for people.
Yeah.
Again and again and again. It was that movie and a movie called Heart and Souls. I don't know if you know that movie.
I don't.
Iconic movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Keira Sedgwick and Alfre Woodard, like in the early 90s. Like one of my goals is to like at some point like reboot that movie or do something with that movie. It's so great. Like there's 4 people who pass away in a bus crash in the 50s, and their souls get attached to a baby, which is Robert Downey Jr., and they're with him all the way until he's an adult. And they watch him grow up, and he sort of becomes like this difficult adult, and suddenly he's able to see them, and you find out that they have to use him to do their unfinished business. And so like it's about like all their relationships together. It's like a comedy,
What a great
but
premise.
Yeah.
very heartfelt, and it is such a tearjerker. It really is like the definition. And every time like someone doesn't know this movie, I ring the bell because I'm like, this
You've
is
never
such...
talked about this to me before.
I think I have, but like I sometimes bail on it. You ever have that movie like that's
Sure.
just yours?
Yeah.
And you sometimes bail on talking about it because you're like, oh God.
I don't know if anyone's going to get this.
What's
yeah.
that for you? Do you have that?
I can't think of one top of mind.
Yeah, exactly. But like this is that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And I know Keira Sedgwick a little bit because we're friends with Sosie,
yeah.
her daughter. And I literally said, I was like, Heart and Souls. And she was like, oh, wow, no one ever says that one.
Wow.
And I was like, this is what I'm saying. Like, no one ever says that one.
Special.
Yeah.
I got to watch it.
It's good. It's really good. Like, she has this monologue at the end. I can't.
Ah!
Everyone watch it. The Readers, Katie's Publicist Finalists. You're going to love it. Oh, I guess this is when we should tell you. So, upcoming is the Las Culturistas Culture Awards.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
It's a category called Record of the Year.
Okay.
One of your songs has entered the conversation.
It has?
Gardenia.
Oh, wow, you guys.
We're in rehearsals.
We're in
for it.
rehearsals for Gardenia. We've been rehearsing it even today.
We're
in the car.
gonna rip it up on stage.
Because you rip it up on that record.
Thank you.
You opened all the way up and sang that song in the words of Ariana Grande with your full chest.
With your full chest.
You gave it.
Thank you. Wow, I can't believe it's like in contention for record of the year.
It is.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It may be up. It's up against tough competition. Single Soon by Selena Gomez.
Yes.
Well, I know that's your jam.
That's my number one jam.
I don't know if I could beat it.
What else is nominated?
Oh, I forget. But I mean, I think the front runners are Single Soon and Gardenia.
Just Gardenia is a stand and deliver, good old fashioned
Thank you.
belty ballad.
That album, Wild Hope?
Wild Hope.
Wild Hope. That was
Wild
not-
Hope is one of your best.
Thank you. I
That
love
was
that
not
record.
on streamers for a while.
It wasn't.
And
What
then
is with
something-
that?
Just
La-
record
label
label
stuff,
Michigan.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
that
back.
is there a story behind Gardenia at all? Like,
Just my first heartbreak,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. I just sang it at a show a couple weeks ago, and
You did?
I did, and my husband was like, "Who's this person that like you made love on the floor with?" I was like, "Hey, we don't need to talk about that." But this was like my first love, and you know those relationships that loom so large, and we had gone through this breakup. It was so traumatic, and I was working in New York, and I just remember like, oh God, the poor people that I was working with, like laying out the drama of my life as if like it was the worst thing to ever happen to anyone, that no one else had ever been through heartbreak before.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous now thinking back to it. But I just, remember taking like walks through Central Park by myself, like having this real, just time being in the city for the first time, like living there, working there, and trying to like heal from this just awful event in my life.
It's been good. Getting to know me more is such a good lyric.
Oh,
It's such a good lyric.
It's great.
Thanks.
I mean, that was that walked so Taylor could run.
Yeah.
Oh,
Getting
please.
to know me more. If that's not Taylor Swift,
That's why it's a nominee
That's why
for
it's
a
a
record
nominee.
of the year.
Golly.
this is huge.
Guys, I'm like floored for an almost 20-year-old song.
I have to tell
Hey.
you, I was listening to it the other day, and I was just like, this goes off in a way that I honestly had forgotten.
Wild Hope.
I was so sad.
So good.
I mean,
You were
June-
sad.
I was so sad.
Are you a very
sorry.
deep feeling person? I
Yes.
can tell. What's your
Yes.
astro sign?
Virgo?
Aries?
Aries.
So it's your season.
It's your season.
My season, yeah.
Congrats for that.
Thanks.
We just left my season.
We did.
Well, happy birthday.
It was, thank you. It was tough. This Pisces season didn't.
It was a rough
It
one.
didn't deliver.
It was like, you ever know when you're in an emotional mood and there's not a clear reason why?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like for some reason I've just been, over the past like 3-4 weeks, I've just been a little anxious, a little on edge, a little like melancholy for like something I can't really pinpoint.
There don't
And
have to be reasons.
I
Yeah.
guess you're right, right?
Yeah.
Like and I guess that's kind of just like what it is.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry.
it's all right.
But we're
I'm happy we're in your season.
Yeah,
we're in
exactly.
your season
We're out of
now.
it.
Out of it.
And I love blaming things on the stars.
It's an easy scapegoat.
It's just
So
it's so
easy.
easy to just
So
get
far
around.
Can I
away.
tell you guys? So a couple years ago, I remember seeing you at the Emmys.
Oh,
We
And-
saw
in
you at
person?
the Emmys.
Yes. And I remember I was with some of my cast. I was with
This
Susan
is
Kalechi
ridiculous.
Watson, and she ran
Icon.
up to you guys.
yes,
Icon.
Susan Kalechi Watson. Oh
and
my God.
ran up to you guys and took a picture. And I was like, wait, I know them. Why is she taking a picture with them? And then she came up and she was like, do you listen to their podcast? And I was like, no. And that's when I started listening.
Oh my God, Susan Kalechi Watson, thank you so much.
Were you nominated?
It was
Sudi.
Sudi was it was SNL was for
Yes.
writing was nominated, and I had just gotten moved to the cast. It was before but this was like 2 weeks ago. I like gotten moved to the cast.
Yes. So this is before you
Wow.
got your acting nomination. This is when we run as you guys were writing nominees.
When we were writing nominees.
Okay, I remember seeing
I remember
you.
seeing
It
you guys,
was-
and I was like,
we were like, oh my God, there's many
I was
more.
like, oh, Sue really likes this podcast. I must listen to it because I know. I was like, I recognized you guys, and I just couldn't pin. I was like, they're someone. They're people to know.
So for us, like you have to imagine, like we're on that red carpet, and it's like all the famous people, but then there's you, and it's like a whole different thing because like of everything we've expressed. But I remember the funniest part was you looked stunning, you look unbelievable, and then our friend Kristen Bartlett and you were in the same dress.
No way.
Oh,
Yes, do you remember
fun.
that?
Yes, totally.
And
Oh my
Kristen was like, I
God.
think I'm in the same dress as Mandy Moore.
We
And
were
we're
like,
like,
love
slay!
I love that.
Fun.
It was very,
It was
very
really fun.
fun.
I just remember that was the first time. I think that was the first time ever I've been around like a ton of.
Yeah, that was my first big award show.
I guess like you don't really understand what the ecosystem of that is until
Yeah.
you're actually there and
Yeah.
you're like, oh wow.
Do
they
you
make
those?
Do I like them?
Yeah, like
Yeah, I mean, I liked them because I was going with like my cast and we all loved each other. And so it was like just a fun excuse to all be together.
Yeah.
I think if I were just by myself, it might be a different thing.
Totally.
Because I always feel like an outlier and an outsider.
But when you're nominated.
Sure, but still, even then, I'm like, this is so weird.
I
Like,
know, it
how
doesn't
did
really
I
make
get
sense.
caught in the fray of this? Like, I should be at home in my pajamas watching this on TV. Like, it's strange to be in the audience.
It is so weird. It is weird, though, to watch it, and it's a show.
It's a show.
Like, you're kind of just like, oh, yeah, it's a show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're watching them come out and do the bits and do the whole thing. Like,
it's a production.
It is. It's a production.
Yeah. Well, speaking of award shows, June 15th.
June 5th.
Gardenia.
Wait, have we announced?
I said on the Today Show.
So we said the date.
We said the date. We haven't
said where it is.
But
look
there will be a
forward
live
to
performance of Gardenia.
Stay tuned. Oh, God, I gotta be there.
If you're there,
we
that would be a pretty good thing.
If you were there, you
That's
might.
very People's Choice Awards of you guys.
Hello. Wait, where was
if
your
you could be there in person.
I know, it is very People's Choice.
Something might happen.
No, don't. Obviously, don't do that.
Yes,
but like,
yes.
I would
don't
just
fix it for you. I have news for you. We will. Like, can we say like we're not better than that?
I mean, I would just come and like say hi and do a thing.
No, you have to
but
come
like,
in and do the
I'm
song.
not gonna win over single suit. Like, come on, let's be honest.
What do you mean?
That's such a funny sentence.
I'm not gonna win over.
I'm not gonna win over single soon.
I know your feelings about that song.
Listen, I'm only half of the voting committee. There's the other half over there,
got it.
And he loves Gardenia.
And I love Gardenia. I have for many years.
Where was your show a couple weeks ago?
I did this weird thing where we all sang at Carnegie Hall. Like my husband sang, I sang. I know it was crazy. It was like this thing called the piano concert, and my husband played the piano for me, and I sang Gardenia.
That's fun. Just Gardenia?
And then I sang a song that I sang on This Is Us.
Oh,
Great.
cool.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about Only Hope.
We haven't talked about Only Hope. But wait, Taylor, your husband, multi-instrumentalist, does a lot of instruments? So cool.
Yeah.
What does he play?
Nothing like a
He
musician.
kind of plays like a little bit of everything.
That's
bass, guitar,
amazing.
piano.
Oh, nothing.
Yeah.
Was it
cool.
kind of over when you realized how talented he was? Like, you probably
Over.
were immediately attracted because of whatever. And then when someone is that good at music, it's kind of like full rap.
It's
Full rap. Absolutely. And then he's also just like the best person ever. Yeah.
Look
I
at
really
the way she
lucked
said
out.
that.
I love
I lucked
Best
out.
person ever. Wait, ask about her line reading.
Of what?
You wanted to ask about the line reading
Seatbelt?
in the car. Seatbelt.
Seatbelt? I mean, it's nothing. I understand that it's nothing, but you just tell Shane West to put a seatbelt on, and then it was right.
It was a very prissy
You
beat.
went there.
Yeah.
Very prissy, and then
Of
it was
like, how would he not know that's the most important thing to do when you sit in a car?
Yeah.
totally
Put your seatbelt on.
put your seatbelt on, and then it was like, and I mean that scene is so important because it's the first time we hear, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. Like, for Jamie to say that is so informative about that character.
Yeah.
I could tell you, but
There's more than what meets the eye.
yeah.
You've had many
love that
iconic
movie.
lines in cinema. Just don't fall in love with me. That and I am full of Christ love.
Yeah. That was a fave for sure.
Yeah.
So good.
That had to be so good to be able to play that part too after you just did like the most pious, like, I'm dying of cancer, but I don't want to be in anyone's way. And then and then you get to be like this like
It's like
Sort
little
of
Throwing
bully.
a Bible,
Christ
crashing
demon.
a van into a giant wooden Jesus.
I'll never forget the scene of you like praying like aggressively. I was like, this is another level.
It's a great movie. Jenna Malone.
Shout out Jenna Malone, my other Lydia Bennett. I see you, sister.
Yes.
Sweet Jenna.
We're in the Lydia Bennett Society.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew on Fire Island would call me his Jenna Malone.
That's you were his Jenna. You were his Lydia.
Is it time?
I think it's time.
Might be time for I Don't Think So, Honey. So I Don't Think So, Honey, Mandy, is this segment we do where we take 1 minute
you
to
think that I
rant
know
against
what I
honey
don't think so,
culture.
honey?
That's grinding our gears.
Yep.
And I actually do have something. It's more practical in life. It's less of the culture. I do feel like we need to start putting our money where our mouth is.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
This is kind of a call to action, I feel.
Oh, wow. There's
Yeah.
a timer and everything. I'm very obsessed.
Welcome
Yes.
to the BTS.
Yeah.
And did you see Bowen's 3, 2, 1? He's always counted down.
We always count down to get him saying.
So professional.
Yeah, we're time bound here.
settling in.
This is Matt Rogers. I don't think so. And his time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. Express lines at the supermarket if we're not going to use them.
Oh.
So if I see an express line at the Gelson's at the whatever it is, and it says like 8 items or less, and then it's dark, it's like, why do it then?
The footprint.
Because it's what I'm
so
saying.
big.
It's just like open the line up for other people then.
Sure.
Like, let's stop pretending we care about those who aren't buying bulk if we're not going to care about them? Because I'm standing there with one thing, something from the hot bar. What I do is I get my lunch every day from Gelson's. It's the way I want to live my life, okay? I don't care what you think about it. I go there, I want to buy one thing, which is the food on the tray. I sit there, I'm online for 20 minutes.
15 seconds.
And there's a perfectly good express line, which I have never seen used. I don't think so, honey. I have ever seen the express line used. In which case, why are you playing in our face?
5 seconds.
Have some respect for those who are frugal.
That's 1 minute. I think I realized express lines might be like early aughts culture, and it's no longer of the time. You know what I mean?
Like self-checkout has replaced Express
but
or something?
Even self-checkout is like,
but even self-checkout isn't totally like up and running. Like I think like something's going on. Not retail, but just like the shopping experience is in a crisis of identity
under
right
attack.
Now. Is under attack.
The shopping experience is under attack. It's actually Roller Culture number 94.
The shopping experience is under attack. I think like if you're competing with an e-commerce thing and like or just like a way of life of ordering things online, like I think everybody who's running shops and stores is like, how do we make this interesting?
You just have to think at any given time. Like if there's 30 people in a supermarket, at least 5 of those people are buying something with 8 items or less.
8 items or less.
Or just running in there for something. Why would just put one of the cash register on the express line?
Guess there just aren't enough people working in stores now.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe that's what it is, because that's also markedly different.
Yeah.
Understaffed.
We're all feeling this.
I know.
We are all feeling this in lines of
I'm
Gelson's.
so sorry.
No, it's okay. But I
think that's a perfectly good I don't think so, honey.
I
feel
what?
that.
Because I'm trying to keep the I don't think so, honey's light. And I'm just like, but even that like really bugged me because I'm like, I'm there and I see ability for it to be used and it's sitting there labeled. And also how thrilling as a cash register to be beep, beep, beep. They're done. Beep, beep, beep. You're gone. It's like, your day would probably move faster.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of not only myself and my community, which are the shoppers, I'm also thinking about the community behind the
labor. Scenes. Yeah.
Really, I want a better experience for everyone.
Efficiency.
Wow.
So there we go. Open the gates, AKA
the lanes.
The lanes. Bowen Yang, are you excited and galvanized to do your I don't think so, honey?
Yeah, I have one that's like so behind the curve pop culturally, but I just finally tried something out and I've realized it wasn't for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. So I'm excited to explore this more. All right. This is Bowen Yang's I don't think so, honey, and this time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. Love is Blind, season 6, this most current season, this most recent season. A lot of people having a lot to say about the sort of disastrous scale of the season and how amazing it is. I was into it for 3 episodes and then I realized, okay, there's something, and this is not a knock on religion specifically, but there is like a Christian element to it. There's a Christian element to it. This is the only Christian media I'll watch. Saved, a Walk to Remember. It's the only, and it's there's just something about it. Like one of the women calls herself a patriot, and it took me out. She I'm sorry, like which is I love this country. But
oh my God, that's where we're at.
But this woman was like, I'm a conservative, I'm a patriot. 15. And then it did take me out of it enough to be like, I'm so distracted. I was distracted for another episode and a half. And I was like, I think I got to tap out. So
5 seconds.
Please, Reader's Case Publicist finalists, let me know if I should keep watching. But for now, I think for that reason, I'm out.
And that's what I meant. I think you're going to be good.
It's someday. I mean, but people really are invested in this season.
It's true. People talk about Love is Blind.
People talk about Love is Blind a lot. And I watched that first season with you.
I've never seen an episode.
You've never seen an episode?
No, I don't participate in Love is Blind. But I always say this about things. Like I said this about Housewives for years, and then suddenly there I was. Like it became like a pretty, like at least 85% of my personality.
Right.
Was so, like that.
You just need your right.
It got you though. I mean, here you are saying you watched at least 3 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the full first season. It's just something about. I had no interest in going back, but something was so emphatically special about this season that everyone was like, "You have to watch," and I was like, "Okay, great." And then I'm a little just like, I don't know what my way in is with it.
But it's not going to be through someone who refers to herself as a conservative patriot.
As a patriot, which
Oof.
I just...
Yeah, I would be out too.
It's coded.
Which is like, I know that person exists out in the world and she is on these reality shows, but like something about like her leading with that like was a little bit like it took me out into the real world where I was like, the reason I'm watching is because they're in these pods. It's to escape that. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's my little.
See, but so peek behind the curtain. The cameras went down. The room is too hot. So then we were talking about how sometimes discourse about like, pop culture things can start to mean more. It's like you go to those pop culture things in order to escape the heaviness.
Because it's frivolous.
And so all of a sudden someone's like, I'm a conservative patriot. And you're like, oh, I'm back in the real world.
Yeah.
And I'm swimming to the surface Ariel style.
Exactly.
All I want is my legs.
Or you have your legs.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. All I want is my fins.
It's obviously been too long since I've seen it. Though I did just go on the ride at Disney World. The ride is kind of flop. I should have done it. I don't think so, honey. The Little Mermaid ride at Disneyland California Adventure. It sucks because can I tell you what they did? And this is the woke mind virus. They took out at the end Ursula like dying.
They
because
did?
it's too violent?
I think they thought that Ursula's death was violence against women, and I have to tell you, she was an evil sea witch.
Evil
and
witch.
if I ever saw Ursula in person coming for me,
it's on sight.
It's on sight.
Yeah,
she's getting punched because I know what she's capable of.
Yeah.
Sure,
murder, devastation,
Faustian bargains.
Absolutely Faustian bargains. And so I said, but I'm on this ride, and literally Ursula is like the best part of the movie, but she's in 2 scenes of the ride, and then they used to have like. The ride ends pretty abruptly with like the audio animatronics of like
Under the Sea,
Eric and Ms. Mama
Ariel.
Like
Ms.
sort
Mama.
of Ms. Mama.
Ms. Mama. Just
Mama
singing.
Mama singing. But they're like waving goodbye, and like you see like King Triton like sort of half in the water like saying goodbye to his baby girl, and then in the back
Ursula.
you see Ursula like kind of getting it in the water. They took that out. And so I'm like, okay, so now 2 things. One, if I'm a little baby girl, I'm wondering what happened to Ursula.
Yes.
Is she still running amok?
Yeah.
You need that signal.
The closure.
That there was
Evil has been
accountability.
vanquished, that there was accountability.
Correct.
Can I tell you something with Ursula? It's not cancel culture. It's accountability culture.
Yes.
She was doing Faustian bargains, and she got hers.
She got punished.
And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay that we don't have Ursula in the seas anymore. She was a menace.
She was a menace, truly.
And for that not to be depicted in the ride, I think is coddling kids. I think it's the woke mind virus.
Oh, God.
And I'm a conservative patriot.
No!
As a result of my experience on the Disneyland ride.
Go on Love is Blind then.
God.
I know, I should. I'd probably
can't.
slay. Okay.
All right.
So with that, it's now time.
Oh,
For
God.
Mandy
The
Moore's
pressure.
I Don't Think So, Honey.
Well, listen, you guys have done how many episodes of this show?
Oh my God.
We're almost at 400.
It's literally
What?
almost 400.
So I'm sure someone somewhere along the way has had this. I don't think so, honey, but it's something that irks me to no end. And I was like,
we're
I'm
gonna
bringing
hear
it.
your point of view and take on it.
Yeah, okay.
And
It'll be
that's what's
unique
going to
to
set it
you.
apart.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, this is Mandy Moore's I Don't Think So, Honey. Her time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. People that take off their socks and or shoes on an airplane.
Thank you. Joy
is-
Behar.
You are heathens. We are in a tiny tin can on top of each other. The fact that you think that I want to think about your feet or see your feet or smell your
No.
feet is ridiculous. Now, I get sometimes we're on long haul flights. People want to like let the dogs out, but it is so disrespectful of yourself, of your neighbor. And the thing that I find most egregious is when people walk on their bare feet or their socks on the dirty floor and go to the
bathroom.
30
Thank
seconds.
you.
those sticky socks, and then you have to put them back in your shoes. I mean, you should just burn them.
Yeah.
Burn the socks, burn your clothes, never go home.
Cut your feet off.
Cut your feet off. I just
15
like,
seconds.
I don't know what kind of people think that this is appropriate behavior. Like, it is just chaos on flights now. People
Yeah.
are in their pajamas, they're bringing pillows, they're taking their socks and shoes off. It's disgusting.
100.
And
Yeah.
that's 1 minute. Oh my God. Thank
Right?
you for. Yes.
Like, anytime I see that on an airplane, I'm like, how were you raised? This
Can I
is
ask a
disgusting.
clarifying question?
Yes.
Is it okay
Oh, no.
to take your
No.
shoes off but keep your socks on?
If we're talking like we're on a long haul flight.
How long is long?
I take my shoes off. I put my shoes back on if I'm going to the bathroom.
Well, yeah. Can I make sure that everyone knows I don't go to the bathroom in the socks, but in my seat, I take my shoes off.
but
I
not
keep
socks.
my socks on.
Yeah, please keep the socks
Are
on.
you kidding?
No, I mean, I guess it's okay. It's like when I see people raw dogging it on the floor.
No, that's horrible.
But even going to the bathroom in their socks, I'm just like,
no, that's big no.
Because you're gonna get piss on the bottom of your sock,
or God knows what. Like it's.
I have news for you about socks. They immediately absorb the liquid, and then that liquid is on your foot.
Right.
So if you think that your sock is a protective barrier between you and someone else's urine,
you got another thing coming.
I don't think so, honey. Yeah. Is I believe the phrase.
Have you slipped a shoe off on a plane?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Like, so we're not hypocrites.
Yes, but like I'm also aware of my surroundings. Like I'm not going to do it if I'm like sitting next to someone and I have any qualms that like maybe it's a stinky sock situation.
Are you a Delta girl?
I'm an American girl because my dad was an American captain.
God. Well, that's lovely.
For 40 years.
Well, there you go. Your legacy.
Yeah. So it's like a family thing.
I did an American flight for one of the London trips for work.
Not bad.
And I will say, I was like, this is quite nice.
That was my dad's route.
Wow, London.
It was LAX to London. His like at the end, his like last few years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then flying was not a big deal to him. Because he was up there all the time, but also once you do LAX to London a few times, anything is possible.
For sure.
That's a long trip. And I imagine like if your father is a pilot, then you must not have the nervous instinct you can't be a nervous flyer, right?
No, never. I love it.
You love it.
I love it.
And that's how you feel you can occupy this space of authority of the skies, where you can say what
I'm
is
a
the
sky
right.
patrol.
You are.
Yeah.
You're like an air marshal.
Yes. I'm a glorified air marshal.
You can arrest
self-appointed.
Self-appointed.
This is all going in
If
the
I
musical.
could like citizens arrest people for taking their socks off on the plane, I would.
It's clear you would. This is all going in the musical,
This is all going in the musical.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do some casting. Like, I think there is something to there is a meta thing here where you're like, I want to get out of my own jukebox musical.
Yeah.
You know?
There's more to me than
my songs, but then by the end you realize, but I really am appreciative of what my music is.
They're a part of my story.
They're a part of your story.
Yeah.
But
literally.
I'm in.
Like it's the musical starts with little Mandy like on a plane, like looking out the window. And what is she singing? She says when she is leaving a place where she used to live. And she's like, I'm missing you like candy. This is first thought.
Well, with LAX to London, would you go on that route sometimes?
No, but we can.
We can pretend.
Mandy has a song called Trying My Best Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Which is like really good. I mean, when I tell you I'm a fan.
Jeez.
And it's like, first of all, it's a great like this town song. It's one of the best LA songs.
Thanks.
I really do mean that.
Thank you. Gosh.
Act 1 closer is Gardenia.
But like I think Little Mandy singing I'm Trying My Best, a very adult, mature song.
Yeah.
But for her to be like 6 years old.
Well, it can get reprised at the very end.
You love a reprise.
I love a reprise. You love a reprise. You did 2 of them entangled. You couldn't get enough of the shit. She kept asking for her life to begin. Well, it began, Rapunzel. But I think there are multiple.
Rapunzel.
You were annoyed.
I'm not annoyed.
You were upset with Rapunzel. You were like, oh my God, it began.
No, that's not what I meant.
Donna Murphy, did you ever meet?
Yes.
Oh my God.
God, legend.
What a legend. And like a true, like, and I mean this in the best way, like a true, like, one of our great, like, minxes to me. Like, just a gorgeous woman.
If you can call Stephen Sondheim Steve, you're a legend.
You're a fucking legend.
You are a legend.
And she called that man Steve.
They did that pandemic tribute to Stephen Sondheim. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it was just Donna Murphy, like, at her Zoom, like, happy birthday, Steve. And I was just like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
This rocks.
This rocks. Like, that is like a woman, Donna Murphy.
I would love to hear her Gardenia.
I would love to hear Donna Murphy sing.
I'm the one who likes Gardenia. Except her vibrato would be spinning at 90 miles an hour.
God. I love her song Entangled.
So
Mother Knows Best.
The reprise of that is so good.
So good.
Mother Knows Best. She really gave it everything.
And also, I feel like the character kind of looks like her too.
Oh, interesting.
She's
Don't
sexy.
they do that? Don't they? Well, obviously with Rapunzel, it's like they had to give Rapunzel.
Sure.
But don't they do that? Like they sort of try to
little
reference
bit.
the actor a little bit.
Sure.
In your stuff, have they done that?
No. I don't think so.
Who are you playing in Cat in the fucking Hat?
I can't say yet.
You can tell me.
I'm
Tell you later.
I've just told Mandy and Matt what my role in Cat
and it's really good. You guys are not gonna want to wait for this. It's really good.
How do we get on this topic?
I don't know how we get on
animated.
Yes. So they had to draw Rapunzel. They couldn't put a little Mandy Moore in there.
But she gets Mandy Moore hair by the end.
At the end, she did. I was like, I have that haircut.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah,
When her hair gets cut and it's short
she gets
and brown.
a more adult
it was
chop.
very like How to Deal era.
How to Deal was so
How to Deal. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Sarah Dessen books?
Yeah. Allison Janney. Oh, that's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still occasionally like run into her at events and stuff, and I'm like, the fact that I didn't know who CJ Craig when I was working with her.
She played your mom?
She played my mom in How to Deal.
Amazing.
And I just remember like she was doing West Wing and she was, had like her summer hiatus and she came and did this movie. And then like halfway through the movie, she got nominated for an Emmy and like we all sent her flowers and stuff. But I had no idea. And then like years later, I of course like devour the West Wing.
Of course.
And I'm like, fuck.
It's one of those ones that like, it'll always be good front to back.
Oh,
the West
classic,
Wing?
like number one show for me. Love.
And truly like one of those performances that's like, pretty much only one person could do it.
And
it feels that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's always my rubric for like, should something like win an Oscar or like be like, have the stamp of approval of like this thing is like, could you see anyone else doing it?
The answer is
Allison
no.
Janney has that like 5 or 6 times over.
Totally.
Yes.
She is one of those. Like she's just like, it feels right no matter what it is. Like character actress, but also very idiosyncratic, identifiable brand. But also like
makes it look
can
easy.
do it all.
Yeah, effortless.
Yes.
Whatever she brings to a role, you're right. You can't imagine anyone else playing it.
Yep.
Yeah. Like you got to watch Drop Dead Gorgeous again.
Oh.
Her and Ellen Barkin, doesn't get better than that.
Doesn't get better. And it doesn't
Go ahead,
get better.
Get a picture of that. Most smartest.
Doesn't get better than this episode. Mandy, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for coming all the way out to Los Angeles. I know it wasn't just for this, but I'm so honored you made time in your schedule for this, guys.
Of course.
Literally, I mean, we can't say enough, as you can probably tell, just like, congrats on everything and having an impact the way that you have.
Thank you.
I mean, like, you're the best and we're such fans. And guess what? We're going to exchange numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And watch this space for the Culture Awards.
Yes.
Because you might hear this. And we end every episode with a song. I'm the one who likes gardenia. I'm the one who likes to make love on the floor. If you want to hear more of that, listen to the actual song sung by the person in front of us. Or check out the Culture Awards. Bye.
Bye.